Welcome to the 27th Jackie's Proof Animals Have Souls and Psychic show, produced through Passionate World Talk Radio, a subsidiary of Global Media Network. My website is jackiejoneshunt.com, jackiejoneshunt.com. If you've listened to my show before, you'll know I'm a psychical researcher, historian of spirituality, lecturer and decades-long vegetarian for compassionate reasons, and author of 3 books, Proof Animals Have Souls, 500 plus celebrities go vegetarian, and Moses and Jesus the Shamans, mediums. The latter, among many other things, reveals the politically orientated biblical mistranslations condemning mediumship, when it was in fact an ancient tradition to consult seers, prophets, dream interpreters, judges and oracles, to learn spiritual wisdom and predictive guidance. The ancient Hebrews and Jews did this. And yet the Orthodox Church led to the 16th and 17th century witch hunts, and thousands of innocents were killed. And even today, in the 21st century, there's many who are suspicious of mediumship or even fearful of it. So my book shows you the mistranslations. So whilst Moses and Jesus the Shamans is encyclopedic in information on mediumship and its global and ancient origins to present day, my other book, Proof Animals Have Souls, introduces the vegetarianism of the ancient world, including the vegetarianism of Jesus and James the Just, his brother, both since birth. James is Jesus' brother, who is practically written out of history by the Orthodox Church. Known for his piousness and vegetarianism, he led Jesus' first followers from Jerusalem for many years after Jesus' crucifixion. Today, it's my privilege. My guest today is Reverend Carl Hulse, Hulse, a spiritualist medium. He was ordained by the Church of the United Spiritualism of Australia as an honorary title for the mediumistic work he and his wife did in Australia. Reverend Carl lives in North Wales, UK. He and his wife are Usui Reiki teachers. Carl's developed his mediumship from tarot card readings, healing and spiritual philosophy, and he continues to give healing today, which he will discuss in the interview. And Carl's email will be in the blog, and it's astraspiritnew@outlook.com. And previously, Reverend Carl Hulse worked as a hypnotherapist. So welcome, Carl. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Hello, Jackie. It's a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Well, I've got a whole host of questions, if you don't mind. What is your earliest...
Oh,
that's great. What are your earliest memories of mediumship?
Blimey, my earliest memories of mediumship was approximately 15 to 18 years ago with my wife. We never did anything like this, either of us, until after we met.
Okay, so it's something that developed when you came together. So how would you say you developed your mediumship?
Right, we're both natural mediums. It's a long story, but I'll cut it quite short. We've both been married before. Things happen in life, and that life journey for me led me to meet my wife one day. She was a customer of somewhere I was working. Her father was quite ill with cancer, and he passed away.
Yes.
I was already a spiritualist because after my own father passed, then I started to go to a spiritualist church, but I hadn't been to church for a long time. When my wife's father passed, I decided to take her to a local spiritualist church, and then our pathway began from there. And one day, not long afterwards, my wife was told by the medium in the church that she was being given a gift, And that progressed from there. I had just become interested in working with cards and doing that sort of thing.
Yes.
I wasn't doing any mediumship at all. But then I used to drive my wife around to serve churches, as she did. She was invited to do a divine service where philosophy is given out. So she doesn't like to do that. So she invited me to go on the rostrum with her to do a bit of philosophy, which I did. And then she asked me, was I getting anything, which took me a bit by surprise. So I just gave off what I was getting in my mind's eye, and lo and behold, people could take that. And so we haven't really trained, we haven't sat in any circles. We've just been given this naturally and developed from that, and it's gone onwards and upwards.
I see, that's very interesting. Would you say that you see spirit clairvoyantly, or hear them clairaudiently, or know they're there claircognizantly, or sense them clairsentiently? Which one or all of those would you say is the way you work?
I wish I was all of those. My wife is clairvoyant and clairaudient. I'm just clairsentient. I just work, I don't see or hear spirit. I just work with a sense of, and the way that I've learned to work and they've taught me to work is that I notice if I'm thinking things differently, or if my bodily actions are different, or if I feel different. I just go with the flow with what they pop in my mind's head, or if how they want me to act.
I see. Do you ever, we're in a room here with 5 dogs, so if they join in the show, then please bear with them. I was going to ask you, do you see or sense animals, spirit animals? Because that would be very helpful to those human parents who are bereaved, who've lost animals. You grieve for them the same as you grieve for a child.
Absolutely, Jackie. Even though I don't see spirit, I have a knowingness. If I'm in church giving a demonstration of mediumship, just the other night, I was able to describe a dog or a few dogs for different people. So I get that sense of there. But my wife and I had a beautiful, beautiful cat called Molly. She was just magical. And when Molly passed, not long after and several times since, there has been, we've heard her in the hallway. We live in a bungalow, so it's all on one ground level. Yes. We've heard her running up and down the hall. She's jumped on the bed and padded up the bed. So we just get that. My wife sees her. I just get that sense of many animals. I've had rabbits through, yes, horses through, dogs through. Any animal, they've all got souls. Every living being has a soul, as far as I'm concerned, and they can and they do come through in the love and the light.
Thank you. You also do a lot of work with healing. I wonder if you'd like to share that with listeners to explain something about the healing that you do.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jackie. Well, my wife and I trained as Usui Reiki master teachers. And that's what we used to do a lot of before the mediumship took over. But over the last 3 years or so, especially, I've been working with spirit, and spirit have been working with me to do a different type of healing. It is a spiritual healing technique that is done through a specialized meditation, and that can be done through a video call. And I've learned that I can help up to 5 people at the same time, all with various conditions. No one has to give any information out whatsoever. It's all completely confidential because I don't do the healing. the person works with their own spirit guide within the meditation to take control and do their own healing with their guide. I just facilitate the meditation, and the person does the healing themselves within the meditation with their guide. It's an empowerment meditation.
That sounds very interesting. So you still have that interest and work with the healing, and you don't do the tarot cards anymore, but you continue with the healing and the mediumship, and that's your life path. Was there a particular event that started you on your spiritual path, would you say? Or what started you? You were saying about you went to the spiritualist church, and that's where you started to inquire. So would you say that was like the focal point of where your life took this turn?
Absolutely. I used to work with my father. Although I've been a trained hypnotherapist, in my early days, I worked with my father and my brother-in-law, who were parquetry floor layers.
Yes.
My father was an atheist, an absolute atheist. There's no God. One of the last jobs that we did was to put some wooden floor into a building that was being built.
Yes.
And that became a spiritualist church. So when my father passed, my mother, who was a believer, she wanted to go to a spiritualist church. So I went with her, with my eldest sister, and lo and behold, it was to the church that we put the floors in.
That's interesting.
And I got my first message there. And the medium said, I've got a man here who says Jesus loves me. And I thought, no, that's not. My dad was an atheist. But then she gave me some specific information about a calendar on my bedroom wall, that it was out of date. And that blew my mind. And I walked out of that church that night, happy as Larry, knowing my father was okay. I'd received the evidence from this beautiful medium, and that was where my spiritual pathway began.
So he changed from being an atheist to a believer, and to show his evidence that he was there, he, out of time and out of space, went to your home, saw the calendar, and gave that as evidence to say the calendar's out of date, to prove it's him, and that he was able to do that, sort of like soul travel or astral travel as a spirit.
Absolutely. That provided absolute confirmation for me.
Excellent. We've only got a minute or so left now, just over a minute. Just in your own words, what is it that motivates your work as a medium, doing one-to-one sittings and churches?
Service. I've been given a chance to be of service and to serve, to just bring whatever comfort and joy into the physical here on both sides of the veil, both the physical and those loved ones on the higher side of life. Just service.
Do you know your guides? Some people get to know their guides, or one or two of their guides, or maybe even one guide. Do you feel you've got to know your guides, or do you just feel comfort that they're working with you, even anonymously?
Well, my wife, Patricia, she knows her guide, she's seen her guide, but different guides come in at different times for different things. And you know, Jackie, I haven't got a clue who my guide is. Not all mediums know who their guides are, but it doesn't matter, because I just get that sense of when they're there.
And that's lovely. It's delightful to know. And it also, you build up your confidence that they're there when you go on the platform to give a service to a church of people that you don't know. So that takes a lot of guts and strength of character, and also a lot of a passion, a mission to do that. Well, I'm afraid the time has come to an end, and we'll have to speak again in the future. And I thank you very much for coming along.
Thank thank you for inviting me so much, Jackie. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure. And you don't have a website, but your email will be in the blog that goes with the show. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.